And to legislative matters now. Some members of the House of Representatives have called on citizens to support the proposal to amend the nation's constitution that will allow for rotation of the office of the president among the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. The 35 lawmakers are recommending a single tenure of 6 years and the creation of 2 offices for the vice president, saying this will help reduce the cost of governance and promote unity in the country. Our correspondent Edon Joseph was there and now reports.
The proposed bill for the rotation of the position of the president is expected to rotate among the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. This is one among 50 proposals supposed to be presented by the lawmakers, which some have passed their first reading in the National Assembly. According to the lawmakers, the proposed amendments will help ensure efficient and effective use of state resources, promote unity, and combat uneven development across the country, amongst other benefits.
Recognize Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones and provide for the rotation of the office of president, state governor, and local government chairman among the inherent regions and zones. We have put provisions in place to ensure that when we say it's 6 years single term for a particular zone, it remains 6 years and it can never change. And that is why the bill is now proposing for the position of 2 vice presidents.
Given this full participation, you will understand that people will have roles to play at different levels.
The lawmakers, about 35 of them, recommended in their proposal that the first vice president and the president should come from the same part of the country, and the vice president shall assume the position of the president if he becomes incapacitated. While elections remain the only democratic means of bringing people into power in Nigeria, the lawmakers proposed reforms to address issues of corruption in Nigeria's electoral process.
And we're also pushing for a 1-year imprisonment for non-compliance against the rec or any concerned electoral officer, plus 7 years imprisonment without option of a fine for any returning officer who declares a false result not uploaded to the server or via the INEC electronic transmission devices, including results that the accreditation figures didn't tally with the number of vote cast.
All this we are doing in the interest of the public, of the Nigerian citizens. 1, if all elections are held in the same day, it will reduce cost. 2, if all electoral matters are concluded before winners are sworn in, it will reduce cost.
To ensure that the bill successfully become law, the lawmakers pledged to rally support of all relevant stakeholders.
And to unpack this, I'm joined live virtually by a legal practitioner and political analyst, Okeki Adeniran. Good morning. Glad to have you join me. Let me start by asking what your impression is of rotation of presidency among geopolitical zones, in the country. Do you think this is significant as a change? Mr. Adeniran, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to have you join us. I was asking what your impression is on the rotation of presidency among geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Do you think this is significant, for Nigeria as a country?
Well, I believe that this is not significant. As a matter of fact, what I believe is that for you to have this kind of process, it will take a lot. And having 6 months and rotating throughout the 6 geopolitical zone, it means that you are probably trying to encourage what we're trying to even put down. I mean, tribalism. As a matter of fact, there will be diversity, there will be tribalism, and these things are supposed to be put down. If this is encouraged and if this is done, one of the challenges we have is that we have a challenge of accountability from the politicians. We also have a challenge of continuity, because you will find out that a particular person will probably start, or maybe a particular zone will start a project, and the next zone that will be coming up would decide not to go ahead with the project. And what it means is that there will be rancor between the zones in the country, and this can lead us to where we don't want the country to be.
Now, a single 6-year term for presidents and also governors has been previously proposed. This has never scaled through. Do you see any difference in this case?
Honestly, I do not. I do not. 10 years ago, there was this kind of proposal at the House. And in fact, the majority of the House, voted against the bill for it to pass to the second reading. And so I did not see this proposal seeing the light of the day, and I do not see it going ahead or going on to the next stage. Personally, I believe it is not what we should encourage. Some weeks ago, a bill was just passed, to have the national anthem, which talks about, oneness and talking about, togetherness as a country. We do not want to have a country where, we'd have to now start, moving from one zone to another, selecting president from the particular zone for 6 years, and that particular zone, after that, after the tenure for that 6 years, knows that maybe the next, who knows, maybe 12 or 20 years, it won't get to their turn again. I'll decide to do some, things that we do not want as a country. So I do not see this, seeing the light of the day.
Well, but some persons say rotating the presidency by zone could ensure broader representation, and some other persons say it might also diminish competence when it comes to favor, when it comes to what we call turn-by-turn culture of politics in Nigeria. How can the proposal be balanced to ensure what we call both representation in the regional aspect and also meritocracy in selection?
Well, if it's going to come up at all, if it's going to be encouraged.
Mr. Adeniro, are you there?
Can
Mr.
you hear me?
Adeniro? Yes.
Yes, I'm here. I can
go
hear
ahead,
you.
please. You're going to share your thoughts.
Yes. So as I was saying that, right, if it's going to be, done, I believe this will probably be something that the electoral body, will have to really take charge of. And to the extent that pre-election matters will have to be, coordinated by the electoral body. And being coordinated, there will be stringent requirements, given to parties, so as the parties will not present an individual who do not even have an experience, in leading the country. I'll give an example of a particular company. A company will not just employ a CEO, right? The CEO must have requisite qualifications before such person can be a CEO. And in that sense, if we're going to have this, see the light of the day, or probably if it's, being considered at all, I would advise that, INEC should, take charge, have rules, have stringent rules that will be put in our electoral laws that the parties will have to follow. And in fact, after the party has screened or interviewed these particular aspirants who they're going to be presenting, the INEC itself should also, try to interview and, screen them properly, screen them as a matter of fact, talking about leadership. What have they done before? Have they led a group of people? Have they been engaged, in policies, making sure that policies are presented and all. So I believe that's the only way, that we can, go through if we have to consider, rotational presidency or 6-year time at all.
But then this proposal, according to some, school of thoughts, claim to reduce campaign costs. Can you analyze the potential financial implications of a single-term limit compared to the current 2-term system, considering factors like power transition within the Nigerian landscape, and that, of course, of a single term?
Trust me, right? It will not reduce any cost. It will not reduce any cost. The fact is that, politicians will always, present things like this to you, making it seem as if it's going to be, in quotes, bread and butter. It's going to be fine by the time we start. But the fact is that it's not going to reduce any cost. What we'll have will be that we'll have an aspirant or maybe president who will probably, spend a lot of money on campaign and getting there, it's time to fund the funds and move ahead with life after 6 years, right? So in fact, if I have the power at all to do anything of such, I will even reduce the 4 years to 2 years, in this case, if we have a particular president or a governor who is underperforming, right, in 2 years, let the person go. Let the citizen, decide. Because if you have these 6 years, it's so sure that you are taking away the power of the electorate. And at the end of everything, it all boils down on the people that are going through the issues in the country. The politicians are probably not going to be aware of the cries of people in the country, because basically they're probably going to be enjoying the office and all. But it still has to do with people. It has to do with people. So what I'll say is that it's not going to reduce any cost. It's not going to, reduce what will be spent. As a matter of fact, it will take more, because someone who knows that is not probably coming back won't take more, from the coffers of the government. And it's, basically to encourage corruption. So that's my take.
Well, thank you very much indeed for your expertise on the news. Okiki Adeniran, legal practitioner and political analyst. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.